Practice number 7, got to a pads day the other day. Just in the grind of building a team, building a football team, in all aspects. I think the month of August is the time you bring 120 kids in here, and you got a bunch of dads in the office, and you're bringing everybody together in every facet, and it's not easy. Bringing all these guys in and trying to get them to do what you want them to do on the field, off the field and all that. That's a challenge. That's coaching. That's what they pay us to do, and that's the fun part. And I think we sometimes forget about it. We sit out here and I look at the field, and you guys look at this blue screen behind me. But all the things that go on behind the scenes. But kids had a nice day yesterday. Went to the movies on their day off, and they better be ready to go to work today, Jerry.
I'm sure they will. I'm not concerned.
Good. Questions?
What did you learn from the video from the pad practice on Tuesday?
Learned that we got ways to go in every phase, like every team in the football world does, I guess. I think we got some guys that can make some plays. There's guys that show up on tape. You always want more effort. You're always looking for guys to give you more. Dan Marino's quote we kind of read today is you always got more, and you got to find a way to pull it out of them and get more all the time. Not just in a team drill. Some guys show up in team drills. Some guys show up in individual drills, and you want to put it all together. So that's what I learned is that we got a ways to go, and just continue to build and build and build. Thanks, Ghost. Ghost, thank you. It's quiet today. Get your butt moving.
Was there anyone who maybe you didn't notice when they weren't in pads but wowed you once they put full pads on?
God, was there anybody that stuck out like that? I would say no. I mean, I tell you, defensively, one of the guys that really stands out to me is Nate Matlack. I just see a smart football player. I see a guy that plays football the way you need a team player to play. I mean, I watch him out there. He can lay out. I've seen defensive ends lay out and tackle people when it's thud. The thing I've been impressed with, is that he's smart. He takes care of the details on the field. He's been very consistent the first 6 days. Didn't shock me that he came out in the pads and did what he did yesterday, but just one of those guys that stood out. I'd say that's one of the guys.
Kyle Lewis made a splash play the other day. Mm-hmm. Has he been making plays like that?
Yeah, Kyle Lewis, I think if you had someone rank the best players on defense, he'd be in the top 3 of probably everybody's pick, I would think, and every once in a while we do that, pick the top 15 guys, make sure you're putting the right guys on, make sure everybody feels the same way. Don't put your name on it and see where we go, but Kyle Lewis is a playmaker.
Post that list on social media?
Yeah, I posted it yesterday. You didn't see it?
I didn't see it. I must have missed it.
How important was it to get a guy like Nate, given all the experience that you lost in the defensive line this offseason?
It was important. And if I didn't get Nate, we're going to find somebody. And I tell you what, Chief Borders is, it's another guy that's shown, we just talked transfers and guys you brought in. You're always going to have needs, and you got to fill your needs. Chief has got one of the best motors I've seen. Okay, and you know what? That's if you put on your Nebraska highlight tape, you're going to see a motor. We lost a guy with maybe a low motor, and we got a guy with a great motor. And Nate Matlack is got a motor as well. Like it never stops him, but he's smart too.
Both of those guys did different things at their old schools,
Mm-hmm.
than what they're doing here. The 3-4 at Kansas State,
Yeah.
Chief standing up. How did you go through? I mean, how do you project those guys individually? What stood out about those guys that made you believe they could play in your kind of defense?
I've talked, for years and years and years and years prior to coming here just about the evolution of defense, and you're always looking for big athletes on the edge. You move big linebackers, to defensive end. You move big D ends inside, like Nakai. If you look from year 1 here to where we are in 10, we're always constantly moving guys around, and I feel like we wasted time with Nakai. We could have moved him earlier. I feel like it was a bad decision on my part. Just didn't you open your eyes, figure it out, and feel like he didn't figure that out fast enough. I wish I would have got there fast enough to get that done. Where it could have helped us a little more last year, which would have been a bigger help this year. But you're always moving those big athletes. I mean, Nate Matlack had just a couple plays where he's on the edge and go, that's what we're looking for. It was simple. You got to believe what you see on tape, and the same thing with Chief. The thing I loved about Chief, I knew he was a big athlete. The guy could stand up and play linebacker. Both those guys could stand up and play linebacker for a lot of people. But they fit into our speed on the edge is what we need. And again, I watch those two guys drop off in coverage, and it's like, whew, I mean, they look like naturals too.
You had 3 spring additions from the transfer portal. How different is the spring portal window from December in terms of what's available and the urgency and just, I mean, how do you have to approach it differently?
You know what? It just comes out get down to need, and I feel like we can get those guys ready to go. You know, I'll say Key wasn't. You know, you'd have to tell me who those 3 are just so I refresh my memory. I guess Chief was one of them.
Anthony Johnson. And
Anthony
Anglin.
Johnson and Anglet. I mean, just like I look at Key. Key might as well have been a summer guy. We got 1 minute, EJ. Key might as well have been a summer guy because he didn't go through spring ball, and I've been really pleased with what he's done the last few days, he's got a motor. He's physical. You're gonna like what he's gonna hit you on game day. Guy was an all-conference player a year ago, and the year before that, a 3rd-team All-MAC player. He's a football player.
Looking at Anthony, I mean, he was at the FCS level with Youngstown State for a while. Do you think he's transitioned well? Sort of
He has, and then he went to Illinois, and I talked to Brett Bielema. Some people don't call coaches and say, "Hey, what do you think about that guy?" And I talked to Brett. Good friends with him, and got some. They didn't want to lose him. He's a big athlete that's tough, physical, and I don't care about FCS. I can care less. It comes down to we talked about it the other day. Size doesn't matter. We talked about the heart the other day. FCS doesn't matter. I had a couple of Division I offers. I went FCS. It doesn't make me a bad player. There's some darn good football players at FCS level, and Anthony's got a chance to be really good.
Who are your FCS offers?
Come on, let's stay on topic here. Mac guy.
We got like a minute before walkthrough. Anything final?
The Big Ten implemented mandatory injury reports on game days last year. It sounds like the SEC is maybe moving towards that as well. Is that something the
It's not my
ACC should
job.
do?
It's not my job. I could care less. We used to do it, if some of you guys remember, but there's a lot of lying on it anyway. So they lie on it, and what's the reprimand? Can you get my stuff there, EJ?
I can.
So there's, that's great. We did it, and then we got rid of it because there was, he's doubtful and then he plays, and he looks great. So what does it matter if you don't tell the truth on the thing, right? So
Good place to end.
Jerry likes that.
I'll look it up.